Good afternoon. Welcome to Think Purple Math. Today's topic is solving multi-step equations involving the distributive property. So if you look at the first problem there, notice that there is the distributive property on the right hand side. What we need to do is we need to go ahead and apply the distributive property on this parentheses. Notice that there's a -2 there. So it's -2 plus 14n. Next thing we want to do is to either subtract or add the same variable, or add or subtract the same number on both sides. I'm going to go ahead and get all my variables together. So I'm going to subtract 5n on both sides. And your next result will be 34 is equal to -2 plus 9n. Now we go ahead and add 2 to both sides. 36 is equal to 9n. Divide both sides by 9 and you are basically done. The answer is 4. N is equal to 4, and that is your final answer. Notice the steps. The first step was to distribute. The second step was to subtract 5n on both sides. We can do pretty much anything we want at that juncture as long as we do the same thing to both sides of the equation. And then it becomes a two-step equation, and it has to follow a certain pattern. Alright, next problem has a little more work involved. This case, we have the distributive property on the left, and we also have a number being subtracted from that product. So there's an extra step. First thing is to do the distributive property here. And we simplify the left-hand side, and we'll get an 8x minus 6 minus 8 is equal to the right-hand side, or the right side of the equation does not change. Nothing has been done, so it stays the same. Next thing we want to do is to get all our variables together, or combine like terms if it's possible. And we are going to combine like terms here. The -6 and the -8 can be combined. And our next result is 8x minus 14 equals 4 plus 2x. I'm going to go ahead and get all my variables together. That's kind of the way I do it. 6x minus 14 is positive 4. We are now at a two-step equation, and they must follow a certain pattern in terms of solving. We're going to add 14 to both sides. 6x is 18, and obviously at this juncture you may do mental math or show the step. Divide by 6. X is equal to positive 3. Okay, there's one more problem we're going to take a look at. This particular problem has distributive property twice, but on one side. Sometimes you'll have the distributive property on one side and distributive property on the other side. In this case, we have it both on the left-hand side of my equal sign. We'll go ahead and apply the distributive property twice. There's -12x minus 9. The next parentheses will give us a -24x plus 4. The right-hand side stays the same. Okay, the next step would be always check and see if we can combine like terms. The x's can combine. We'll get 12x. -9 can combine with positive 4, and the result is -5. The right-hand side stays the same, but we carry it on down step by step. As you go through each step, the problems get smaller and smaller and less challenging. We lower the difficulty at each step that we subsequently perform. Two-step equation, we add 5 to both sides. 12x is equal to 48. We scroll it on up. Our last step is divide by positive 12. And x is equal to positive 4. So that's a look at solving multi-step equations using the distributive property and inverse operations. Algebra can get very complex. It depends on the level you're at, what the topic is, and some of them become more challenging. But that's a look at solving with the multi-step equations. Have a great day, and Skol Vikings.